Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Phenomenal Business Growth Podcast. I'm Jim Clouk, and I hope you're having a phenomenal day. I have got a phenomenal person joining me here today on the podcast. Her name is Alecta Bartels. Alecta, how are you?
I am doing phenomenal. How are you?
Of course, phenomenal, phenomenal. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's great to have you here. I've known you for probably a few years. We've seen each other at phenomenal events, inner circle events.
Yep.
And I remember one of the first times we met, you're like, I want to be on a podcast. I believe you came up, I want to, right? And now here we are on a podcast.
Here we are. You just said, just ask.
Exact. Yeah, I did. I did. One day I was on stage talking about just asking. And, um, it is important. If people don't do that, things tend not to come to them. If you want something, you have to ask. If I didn't ask my wife to marry me, I may not be married to her today and have my two children.
That is fair. And no one can read your mind, right? So you have to put it out there.
Thank goodness they can't read my mind. Sometimes we have thoughts that we shouldn't be sharing. That's
Yeah.
why we need to have a filter, but that's a totally different podcast. I wanted to have you on to talk about your business, profit in your pocket,
Okay.
and then also how that relates to phenomenal business coaching. But let's get down to what you do. You help home service providers, home service professionals, people in the home service industries
Mm-hmm.
to keep more of their money. And now that makes sense, right? I mean, shouldn't we all be doing that? But a lot of people really don't know where the dollars are going and where the profit is. And you help them with that, don't you?
Absolutely. I certainly try. Whether they listen or not, it's a whole nother story. But also not only is it important to track the money, but you also have to price for profitability and sell for profitability. So, but we can go into that a little bit later too, if need be.
Yeah.
So,
And so it's important that one reverse engineers things. People say, well, I can't charge that because my competition doesn't. Well, if your competition is running negative, you don't want to run negative. If they're driving off the cliff, you don't want to be driving off the cliff. And I know Ellen Rohr talks about this, and you work closely with Ellen,
for sure.
that you really need to figure out how much money you want to make,
Mhm.
okay, and then put the cost in there,
Yeah.
all right, and the rest of the numbers work out, right? So you have to start off with, okay, I want to make this percent or this dollar amount in the model.
Right.
And then you've got to price it accordingly. So if you want to make $1 and your costs are 50 cents, then you better charge the appropriate amount, right? So how much would
Please,
that be?
50. Ellen would tell you four.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Right?
So whatever that is. And I will say this before anything else, as a home service professional,
Mhm.
don't limit yourself.
No,
Push that price and profit as much as you can, but you have to offer value, don't you?
right. Well, and absolutely. And I think people get a little bit overwhelmed or confused because they think, well, my competition only charges this much, but like your competition sets the bar so low. They really do. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel to become a premium service provider. So, and that's something phenomenal products will show you is you, I mean, the bar is set pretty low. You just have to be a personable
Yeah.
professional and you'll blow away your competition.
Yeah. If you do just that much more than your competition, you're going to beat them. A really great way to become better as a business, not necessarily a better technician. You may
Right.
be the best plumber or the best HVAC company out there, the best carpet cleaner. But if you want to be the best business owner, the best leader, you need to have coaching and structure. You need to understand the personality of yourself and the people you work with. Most people are really good technicians, okay? But they're not necessarily great managers and leaders and understand their customer, and their people. And that's what I love about what Howard and his team does, including yourself, at Phenomenal Products.
Yeah, absolutely. And for sure, just like developing yourself as a person, honestly, running a business is going to be the biggest personal development process you ever go through. So, yeah, absolutely. Phenomenal Products and Inner Circle really offers all of those tools and tricks and insight. I mean, just even taking the time to reflect and to look inside yourself is huge. So,
Not only are you an Inner Circle member and
mm,
gain such valuable information, but you actually train others too.
I do. I get to teach the administration systems class on Wednesday mornings. And that has been so much fun to help people learn about their financial reports, learn about their QuickBooks, what numbers should we be running when? Hey, does this number actually look right? So those are all things that we get to look at on Wednesdays. It's a fun class. I try to make it fun. I know it's boring, it's numbers, but we try to keep it light and we try to just rip the band-aid off and dive in. Everyone's terrified of financials, so it's kind of nice to have a community to help you support you through that process.
Yeah, I love financials, but I don't. So I will tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I took accounting courses in high school and in college.
Okay.
Didn't enjoy it. But
No.
what's nice about it is the numbers don't lie. They need to balance out, right? I mean, if it's right or wrong because you're like, wait a second, I'm off by 3 pennies. What's wrong, right? So that's what's nice about accounting, because you can tell if something's wrong.
Right.
What's really wrong is when you see negative numbers. And we as business owners can't have that. We can't sustain our businesses for long. And it's really important to know your numbers. And I know that's something you really focus on. You don't call your company by your names. A lot of people will say, it's such and such company, like, Electa's bookkeeping company. Yours is Profit in Your Pocket, which is really specific. I guess it'd be more specific if it would be, hey, if you're a contractor and you want profit in your pocket, that would be like more specific, because I know you work with home service professionals. But I like the name of your organization because it's specific, and it's a little sexy too, because it's specific to what people really want. It's not, let's watch your expenses bookkeeping. It's not, well, you laugh, right? But it's like profit. Without profit, you don't have a viable business.
Right, for sure. And honestly, profit on the bottom of a report is pretty easy to get, but like profit actually landing in your pocket is a whole other ball game. You've got to have a plan. So that's why I love Profit in Your Pocket, because it rhymes, and also that's where it belongs. That's my approach to bookkeeping. So, but yeah, it's wildly unsatisfactory to hand over financial reports to people and just be like, here you go. I'd much rather be like, here's where you're at. Let's get, you're this close. Let's work a little bit harder on this. That's so much more fun for me.
Yeah. Electa, one thing I love about you is that for someone in your industry, you're a joy, because a lot of people, if they say, hey, describe to me someone who's a bookkeeper or an accountant, they'd be like, right. They don't have personality in general. Right. They're dry. They're to the point. You have a personality where you make it fun and interesting, and you're engaging. And don't you think that's important in business, to be able to have that, so you can help your clients more, so they trust you more?
Oh, absolutely. And I do try to fun it up. I can be quite serious and quite angry about things, but you catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar. But also, I also understand that my clients are coming to me from like a background of nothing. So it's super scary and it's all about money. So I just try to make it as approachable as possible. I try to educate people as they go. I'm actually a science teacher by background. So I
Interesting.
understand that I'm meeting people at zero and I've got to get them to like, not necessarily expert level, but pretty what, a
advanced,
passing grade,
a
right?
passing grade. Yeah.
A passing grade to understand their financials. So, and also educate them on what to expect from their financial professionals.
So let me ask you this question. Suppose someone really is involved in their business with sales, marketing, and technical things, but they really don't want to get into the numbers. What's the bare minimum they need to understand? Because if they have a professional like you who's backing them up, it's like
Yep.
having an attorney, right? You don't need to know law. The attorney's there for that.
Mm-hmm.
So the financial expert, which is what you would be in this case, what's the bare minimum that operator needs to know in terms of numbers?
Absolutely. So, I always start with the balance sheet because that's where quality control starts. But as long as like your bank account matches your bank statement, like you're pretty much 90% there. And then as far as the profit and loss is concerned, you want to know about your sales as well as your cost of goods sold versus your sales. And like those are the basics. So those I would say like are the top three numbers. You can definitely take those very hefty financial reports and boil it down to 3 to 5 key numbers. So,
And there's different ways of putting profit in your pocket. One could be simply by just raising your prices. One could be
mm-hmm.
reducing your costs, or a combination of both. Are there
Right.
any other ways besides the hard cost of a business and the price you sell it at?
Pricing's great. Managing your costs is great. I have to admit, I rarely run into a business where it's like, oh, we've got so much fat down here we need to trim.
Yeah.
Usually it's not quite that way. But also incentivizing your team, like encouraging your team to play the game of business and win. So that would be what Ellen would tell you. That's a big motivator for Inner Circle. Is Ellen Rohr. I'm sorry, I just say Ellen. But that would be how you can really grow a company and scale a company and win.
Yeah.
So,
So when I think about you and Ellen,
mm-hmm.
I think about Howard Partridge and Inner Circle,
Yeah.
which then brings me to Howard and how he really cares about each business owner,
Mm-hmm.
their spouses, their children, and their team members.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because I really encourage people, if they haven't attended a boot camp, at least go do that. And maybe you'll be invited to meet with Inner Circle members for a while as well and get to know the family, because it really is a family, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we like to just kind of keep business and personal separate, but like we're spherical people. So personal life affects business and business affects personal life for sure. I'm sure you've experienced that before too. So, but no, Howard just wants to memorize everybody's name, what they like. I just remember the last boot camp I attended, there was another phenomenal business coaching franchisee that had just joined. And Howard had like this cute little Barbie set for their 5-year-old daughter. Like, who does that? Like, who is that thoughtful that they're going to have toys available for their, you know, their clients' children? I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's really a different type of culture,
mm-hmm.
but that's really important. And if you're a small business owner, you don't have to be in home service. You can be. I would say at any given point in time in one of the Inner Circle quarterly events, there could be 40 to 50% home service professionals in that room. But any small business that
Mm-hmm.
you're in, or maybe you're starting one and you want to learn more, this is a great place because it's different than any other type of small business coaching opportunity. And when I say coaching, it's at first it's not going to seem like you're in a coaching environment. It's a learning environment. It's a conference. and you're going to meet people. There's a lot of networking, and there's going to be an opportunity, if you want to get introduced to a coach and have ongoing coaching, which is good for everybody. Even the best athletes have coaches. The best business owners should have coaches. But there's this family feeling in the room. And I tell people, I say this all the time, it's kind of like going to church, which is good. And right. And Howard is the leader. And but he involves everybody, and we might all get up and sing. So it's right. So it's it's a fantastic family.
Absolutely. It is absolutely a family. And one thing I have found that's been super fun to do at conferences or via email is just connecting like members with other members, just being like, oh, they just went through this. They found a really great solution. Let me connect you to. Or I just run around at the conference. I feel kind of like I don't know, a cruise host or something.
Yeah,
But I'm
cruise
like,
director, sure.
cruise director, you got to meet this person. Let's connect. So I feel like that's honestly one of the biggest assets is just the community of members and their challenges and their successes. So it's fun. I like getting to know everyone in their business and how they've solved problems. So
yeah, it's fantastic. And you solve a huge problem for many of the people in the room, which is their numbers. And it's really not fun for many people. Their anxiety level goes up, and especially if it's a bad report card. Everybody wants a good report card. So if there's negatives on it, it's not good. It's got to be switched around. Alecta can help you out. So I'm going to put Alecta's information in the description of this podcast. So if you want to reach her, all you do is just click one button and you can email her directly. How does that sound?
Awesome. I'd love to work with anybody.
All right. Alecta, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And you have yourself a phenomenal day.
You too, Jim. Thank you so much.